Take a deep breath in. And as you breathe in a resourceful feeling of calm and relaxation. And as you exhale, just allow any feelings of worry, stress, or tension to feel like it's leaving your body in your outward breath. As you breathe in and breathe out, relax those tiny muscles in your eyelids. And as you become aware of any tension in your neck, shoulders, jaw, or forehead, give permission to just let go. As you breathe in and breathe out, start to feel tension melting away and a wonderful feeling of resourcefulness starting to glow and grow inside you. I want you to imagine where it feels like your intuition and good instincts are within you. Maybe you imagine them somewhere in your gut or somewhere else. And as you breathe in a wonderful feeling of calm, resourceful relaxation, imagine it is enhancing, strengthening, and empowering that positive, intuitive instinct. And I want you to think of a recent memory with that positive intuition helped you to leave your comfort zone, to make a positive change, to start feeling like momentum was building in your life. Breathing in and breathing out. I want you to use the power of your imagination to imagine a beach, and imagine a large heavy rope. And imagine you've got 3 or 4 people on either side of the rope, investing huge amounts of energy to pull the rope in a tug-of-war. But I want you to imagine the individuals on either end of the rope are of equal size and of equal strength. And I want you to see that with huge amounts of energy and effort, the rope barely moves. I want you to see how much energy is being expended to create a form of paralysis. Because equal effort moving in opposite directions creates no movement. As you breathe in and breathe out, if it feels like, sometimes it feels like you're fighting yourself, investing huge amounts of effort to push against yourself to make tiny progress, let me know by nodding your head. Breathe in and breathe out, and I want you to scan your body for where it feels like the location of what you're fighting against exists. Maybe picture the location. And maybe there's clues, physical sensations, feelings that you feel under certain circumstances that give you an idea that that's where that part is hiding. If you feel like you know where that part exists, let me know by nodding your head. Breathe in and breathe out. And just imagine the location of that part and maybe a representation of what it looks like. Maybe it's a three-dimensional shape. Maybe it has a color, a movement. Potentially you can imagine it even has a material. And I want you to get a sense that this part has a positive intention. And if you feel deep down that this part is trying, but perhaps failing, to help you in some way, let me know by nodding your head. Breathe in and breathe out, and just continue to release tension, feeling like you're drifting deeper and deeper relaxed. Maybe still there on the beach, seeing that tug-of-war take place. And I want you to thank that part for its intention. If you feel it's trying to protect you, thank you is what you would say to that part for the intention of protection. If you feel like it's trying to warn you against dangers, thank you would be what you say to that part for the intention of warnings, of vigilance, of preparation. But sometimes you can have positive intentions that are delivered badly, that don't quite do what they're set out to do. As you breathe in and breathe out, I want you to shift perspectives so that you feel like you are that part that you're trying to protect, trying to keep you safe. And when you feel like you are that part, let me know by nodding your head. And sometimes all it takes is a reality check. Because if someone truly has good intentions and their goal is to protect, what would they do if they found out that by protecting in the way they were protecting, they were actually causing pain, distress, and misery? Any part with honor, duty, a sense of responsibility would take ownership of that and put things right. And if you feel that, if you discovered that by trying to help in the way that you're helping, you are making things worse, there can only be two conclusions. Either you would make changes to put things right, or you would relinquish this responsibility and perhaps allow a different part to take the reins, to perhaps protect in a more effective way. And if that sounds reasonable, let me know by nodding your head. I want this part to now be connected to memories of panic, anxiety, distress, and sadness, all caused not by real events, but by the panic that comes from the evaluations that were incorrect, exaggerated, overreactions. Connect to each memory where false evaluations led to real anxiety, real distress, heartache, inconvenience. Allow the memories to come thick and fast, one after the other. This is a collision that we can call a reality check. All these good intentions lead to bad outcomes, which can lead to a deduction that protecting in this way is not only not protecting, it is causing the very pain you're seeking to avoid. Continue to recall the memories of distress and anxiety, panic and frustration, one after each other again and again and again and again. And at the point where this part responsible for protection feels like it is no longer the solution of the problem, but the cause of the problem, let me know by nodding your head. I don't think you've intended to cause this pain and anxiety. I think deep down you were trying to help. But those things you've been thinking about have led to the very panic and distress you were trying to avoid. And I'm wondering if you're willing to take on a new responsibility. It's a more difficult job, because any idiot can point at what is a possible form of danger. But I want you to do a bit more thinking, a bit more of real evaluations, to evaluate genuine threats and filter out those genuine threats compared to what we can call a false alarms. Because over time, most of the alarms and the alerts have been false alarms and very few have been real. And I'm wondering if you're willing to atone for all of this pain and distress by having even more responsibility to alert when there is only real danger, and that danger can be mitigated or reduced. And that may mean these constant flow of alerts go from 20, 50, even 100 a day to maybe just one a week or one a month, if the evaluation is made that the threat is genuine. And I don't know if you have the desire to put things right, to protect in the way you've always wanted to protect, to step up and take real responsibility and protect in the way that you never have before. And if you want to fall on your sword, quit, leave the responsibility to another part, I understand. Most people would. Most parts would apologize for this poor record of protection, hide away in shame, but I think there's more to you. I think with a bit more analysis, perspective, consideration of risks, you could get very good at alerting when there is true, real, genuine threats and dangers. You know how to alert. You can create that feeling of headaches and energy. But I'm wondering if you're willing only to do that when it's actually useful and necessary. And if you're willing to protect in the way you've always wanted to protect, let me know by nodding your head. And I'm wondering if you're willing to work with the instinct, the intuition. Because I think maybe you did it once very a very long time ago. I think you evaluated a risk and you worked with instinct and intuition, and I think you saved a life once. And I think you may even be able to do it again. And if you're willing to do your work at your very best, with the highest standards, with the highest thresholds, to only alert and warn when there is clear and present danger, let me know by nodding your head. Shift perspective, so you now think about this part like it's separate from you, and I want you to imagine that somehow it's changed. Maybe the material has changed, maybe the size has got smaller. Maybe there's something about it that feels like the energy is less intense, there's less pressure. If you feel like something is changing there, where this part has evolved from a nuisance to something that could actually be useful, let me know by nodding your head. And we can consider the next few weeks a probation period. All you need to do is to see progress. It doesn't have to be perfect overnight. It can make the occasional mistake. But every time it warns you, when the warnings are actually useful, you can thank that part for doing a good job. And every time it gets it wrong, you can share the feedback to teach and empower this part how to get the balance right. To alert you when there is real problems and real danger, something you can do something about. And outside of that, it has no use. Its job is to filter out all the stimulation, all of the possible things in the world, and to only alert you when there is something real. I want you to imagine it going from an overreacting, paranoid old lady to a young, alert, very aware, very conscious individual. And if you feel like this change is evolving, helping, then as you look out onto the tug-of-war on the beach, I want you to see that the tug-of-war is no longer on opposing sides. That the rope is being carried in a single direction towards a wonderful future. It now requires less energy to make infinitely more progress, simply because all parts are moving in the same direction rather than in opposing directions. If you feel like all parts are now willing to work together to give you this desirable future, let me know by nodding your head. And remember, it's progress, not perfection. Every victory, every tiny improvement is a step forward. And every echo of the past is an opportunity to think of new evaluations and new ways of thinking, to teach these parts what it means to evaluate accurately. And if you're willing to teach, coach, and train these parts to work with you rather than against you, let me know by nodding your head. That's it. Breathe in and breathe out and just release all the tension. Feel like you're leaving the beach, returning to the present. Feel that location of pressure and intensity is reduced and released, feeling more proportionate, maybe like how it was long ago. Reasonable, normal, helpful. Thank the part for being willing to make a change. as you take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your nose. Wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, connect fully with the present moment as I now count from 1 to 10 to awaken you. You will awaken feeling resourceful, optimistic, willing to have a new relationship with yourself that feels a bit more balanced and a bit more useful. Starting to count. 1, 2, 3, waking up. 4, 5, 6, more alert. 7, 8, open your eyes, open your eyes. 9, 10, wide awake, wide awake, wide awake.